Right, exactly, and that makes a lot of sense. Go in on so you were what were you filling out an application for the job, or what was the situation with that?
Oh, so I had recently relocated to top part of California, Northern California, and I was still in the medical field at the time.
Right.
So I went to convalescent home. It was one of I had found it over the internet as far as like one of the top places that for new hires and whatnot, people that was coming into town.
Right.
So I went out there and I checked it out. Believe it or not, I got an interview the first day I went there. So
okay.
I'm doing my application, and it's just me and this one other person. There was a sister there.
Right.
She said sister. She was doing her paperwork. She was from the East Coast, from New York.
Okay.
And so they had left us down there by ourselves. And so I knew the lady was like onto something, but I couldn't really figure out what she was trying to do. And so she started, like, I guess you could say, eavesdropping on my application. And so when she did that, the individual that was doing our application, she was a European woman. She was walking in at the same time. And so she looked at my application, was like, hey, what's this Moorish American? What does this mean? And I told her, oh, this is how I describe myself with my identity as far as my culture is concerned. And
right.
She told me, oh, baby, you should just go ahead and put black. That's just how they view us. And so I, without missing a beat, told her, oh, that's why you have to define yourself. You know, no one's going to define you. And the European woman snatched my paper out of my hand and said, that's right. And fouled my paper up, and I've never heard from them. Like, no one ever said that I did my paperwork wrong. Never told me that they couldn't accept my title. If anything, they were more happy to see the fact that I had a title or that I had a nationality that I stood behind, because apparently they don't get to see many people do that. And so when they seen it, not only did they know what was going on, they welcomed it with open arms. Like, I didn't have any kind of issues. No
right.
issues whatsoever.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest with you, I was surprised because majority of the information that I was getting back in the day was always an uphill battle. Like, oh, if you don't have this paperwork, or if you don't have 3 witnesses, and I was always hitting with certain stipulations. So I just took a chance.
Was that in the black days, or was that, you know, in the Moorish American days?
Out of the black days, like I was probably, I have to say maybe a year or two coming out of the idea of being black.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't an overnight process, believe it or not. It wasn't the fact that I didn't believe it. It was just I didn't know which direction to go in. So once I started getting more hits and more of an understanding, it was easier to let go of the black status than what I really originally thought. Because believe it or not, once I let it go, it was never there. It never really existed. It was just something that I kept putting on. It's like putting the backpack on. You're the one that's putting that backpack on with all that stuff in it. It's up to you to decide what to put in your backpack and what to carry. No one told you to put shoes in your backpack when you should have books. And so that's one of the things that, you know, you have to acknowledge for yourself. But yeah, coming out of the black days, and so I was still a little bit intimidated to play with the paperwork, but I still did it. Something told me to do it. Something told me to do it, take a chance, because I've come too far. I studied too much. I've come across too many individuals that was comfortable living a Moorish lifestyle. So why not? And then I also wanted to see if the workforce respected us as individuals. And like I said, I put that on the application. I didn't even write it in the other. I wrote the whole word out. I wrote Moorish American out completely.
Right.
I put my own bracket, just like how we was taught. And like I said, they filed my paperwork with no discrepancies, zero discrepancies. And to add something to that situation, I had failed a drug test on that job, and they still gave me the job. I didn't show up. These individuals came to my house.
If you don't mind, what was the failure about? Marijuana?
It was marijuana. At the time, marijuana was still being looked at as a drug, but that was I failed a marijuana urine test.
Okay. Not
So,
to catch wisdom. Go ahead.
I was embarrassed to go back. I was totally embarrassed. Like, I just didn't want to go back. So I didn't go back. But they came to my house and was like, hey, you know, we're not really worried about the drug test. We just want to know if you can do the job. Of course I can do the job. It's just, you know, I understand that when you fail a drug test, you automatically terminate it. Told me do not worry about that. They picked me. I think I lived about like 5 miles away from that job. I didn't have a vehicle. They came and picked me up to take me to work. And then, yes, this is all after signing up as a Moorish American. So I didn't get that, oh, he's one of those guys. Like, I didn't get that type of feeling when I stood up for my nationality as far as work is concerned. If anything, they stood up with me. And it felt great. It felt amazing.
Yeah, it's London.
Also, at that same building, there was a resident. He had terminally ill. He was dying from cancer. On his deathbed, he had asked me before he was, being switched over to hospice, and they're going to go do comfortable care for him. He asked me, before I leave, I just need to know one thing. What does the B stand for on the end of your abbreviation? Because I have my name tag and it was abbreviated.
Right.
So what does the B stand for? And so I told him Bay. And his eyes lit up as if, this is a European man, his eyes lit up as like he was in joy to see me. This man told me, oh, I know what that is. You guys took on your family heritage. Good for you. I'm proud of you, man. And I have to admit, once I got done with work, I went home, I cried. I cried after that. It was because I believed in that this was going to be hard to become to gain my nationality. And after that encounter with him, I learned that I was already nationalized. It's just I wasn't wearing it correctly.
Right.
And these people respect you. They respect you more when you stand on your square and you stand on your ground. And I was by myself when I did these things.
Right.
And it felt good. It felt great. And then after those experiences, I never turned back. You could not tell me that I wasn't a Moorish national. It's impossible. Right. Especially when you have individuals around the world that recognize you and they're not even part of your nationality and they still respect it. And then they regurgitate everything that's labeled under being a Moor. It's such a good feeling to let you know that, all right, well, I am recognized on earth. I may not be recognized by government bodies, but I am recognized. The part of the journey has already been started. We just got to keep going.
Right. And we can't even say that because even they do. They don't have a choice. But yeah, I definitely
they don't have a choice. But for them to accept it without playing that game,
right.
The game that everyone can play. Oh, I've never heard of that before. What is a Moorish national? What is an indigenous person?
Right.
And believe it or not, I get those questions from so-called black people before Europeans.
Right.
And if I do get a European that does hit me with that question, 9 times out of 10, they've been living under a rock.
Right.
They've been living under a rock. And, some people are still living under a rock. And then some people are pretending to live under a rock because it's easier to pretend.
Right.
And I'm not part of the pretend. I use that situation to X myself from pretending. Like, now I can't pretend anymore. This is my life. This is a part of my life.
It's the true reality.
Yeah, so it's a 100% reality. And not only that, with the young lady that the sister that was down there, and she had asked me about, becoming a national, and I had to explain to her, it was like, you're born with a natural right.
Born with a nationality.
You're born into this. It's only up to you to accept it, or to, how do you say, allow people to view you in this state of mind. Only you can block this. And she was looking for some type of special DVD or a packet, and I didn't have it.
Right.
I couldn't, I